My life is in everything in these two bags for the next 6+ months in Southeast Asia, and today I'm going to show you everything I pack as a content creator and filmmaker traveling the world with all of my stuff in two backpacks. I'm going to go through every single item, sort of podcast style, as I pack it all into these two bags. A little bit about me before we start. My name's Alex. I just graduated from college at UW-Madison in December of last year, so I've been traveling for full-time since then. I just did 4 months in South America at the start of this year, and lots of adventures that were had there in these two same backpacks. So I'm going to show you so much knowledge today about how I pack my stuff and so many of the mistakes that I made in South America, so you do not make the same mistakes. And honestly, I did not find a video from other creators on how to pack camera gear in your bags. So this is bags entirely camera gear. There's going to be a big section at the end, and don't worry if you're not a creator, you can just watch the normal stuff. So let's go to when these bags were completely unpacked and see how I fit everything in my life into here. I have everything laid out in a really nice grid that I made that I'm very proud of, but I am going to start with bags because it took me a lot of time to find the right travel bags, and it's extremely crucial that you have the right stuff in terms of bags because everything's going in there, and honestly, that's probably the most important thing other than camera gear for me, is getting the right bag. So I have the Osprey 40-liter Farpoint, and I've seen tons of other people traveling with this bag. It's extremely good, very rugged, has not broken. I took it all through South America already, and there's like nothing wrong with it. So taking it again, and I really liked it, and I especially like that you can have the back zipped up. So when I'm going onto planes, I zip up the back, and then carry it like a duffel bag, and then people don't think I'm like a backpacker or charge me extra for bags, which is really nice because it looks really small when you have it in like duffel bag mode, I guess. So that's for my clothes bag and toiletries, and then like anything else basically. And then for my camera bag, I have the Wandered Provoke 21-liter, and this is like a camera outdoorsy specific bag, but I have sort of fallen in love with this bag. I didn't think I'd like it when I bought it before the trip. Kind of wasn't sure about it, and then it's really met all my needs extremely well. So we can get into this when I'm packing my camera gear, but it has a lot of really cool stuff about it, but it is kind of expensive. So, but in my opinion, the bags are the most worth spending money on because if your bag breaks, you are actually just screwed. So let's get into the clothes packing. This is actually going to take me a minute to do everything, but I'll start with my socks here. So before I put anything in my bags, I am using 2 packing cubes. One is from Peak Design. It's a little bit bigger, and it's going to have like most of my clothes. And then this other one I got from Amazon, and it works fine. It's nice that there's a big controversy about packing cubes, and they're not to take them, but I think they're nice because they compress all your stuff really nicely. So if everything's like in your bag the way it should be, everything can be compressed, and it's kind of cool. So I have debated a lot about how many pairs of clothes I'm going to take. And for South America, I took 5 pairs of clothes, which some full-time travelers are going to laugh at that number because it's more than you'd think. Some people have more, but it's kind of up to preference. But all the laundromats in South America, at least, are amazing. And I had no problem getting everything done. But I will say that for Southeast Asia specifically, I've packed a little bit better, and I'm at about 3 to 4 items per clothing category. And I think that's still pretty on the high end. But I think that's fine with me. So for socks, I have 5 pairs of socks that are running socks. They're Saucony from Amazon. They are super great. Really nothing more to say about socks. Get ones that will be like performance socks. I exercise a lot, and I wanted socks that will do kind of everything, and these definitely do it. So the next thing is going to be shorts here. So I prefer shorts a lot to pants. There's a couple reasons I'm taking 3 pairs of shorts and 4 pairs of shorts. I lied. And one of them is like running shorts. So they're really tiny. And then 3 pairs of like main shorts. But the main thing with shorts for me was finding ones with zippered pockets. And this is super nice because when you're out and about, it is so nice not to have to worry about someone's hand going in your pocket to grab your phone, no matter where you are in the world. Like, it's so nice to have zippered pockets. You kind of have a little bit more peace of mind, even though you still need to be careful. But zippered pockets are kind of a must for me. My running shorts don't have them, but everything else here does, and it is super important. These are going to go in the same packing cube as my socks, and if I can shove them in here. It is kind of a process to repack the packing cubes every time, but that's kind of just how it is when you're moving from hostel to hostel and going around. So at the time of me recording this video, my flight is leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow, which is so exciting, and I'm up at like 10 p.m. So it's going to be kind of a chaotic day, and I'm going to India first, so it's going to be like a 30-hour travel day. So I am not looking forward to doing it on very little sleep, but need to get everything done. All right, next is going to be underwear. So I don't have much to say about underwear, but I'm trying out some different ones. I have some polyester, some merino wool. A lot of people talk about merino wool, and it's probably a good idea to look into it if you haven't yet, but a lot of mine is just like sports underwear, so I think that's probably the move. It'll kind of do everything, and I definitely don't want some like cotton thing getting wet and staying wet. It would be kind of a disaster. So, and I'm taking 4 pairs total, which is kind of a lot, I feel like, but I don't know. And this is going to go in the same packing cube as before. And if you can't see that, I have like pretty much a ton of stuff in this already. So the packing cubes really like cram everything in. They're actually super nice. All right, now we'll do it for packing cube number 1. This is completely full. Now onto pants. I'm taking 1 pair of pants, and the pants are very specific. They are ABC joggers from Lululemon that are so expensive, actually just insane. But if you're taking 1 pair for 6 months, it better be good and last, and these absolutely do. They're the same pair I took for South America, and they are so rugged. They're like fine in hot environments. They are super warm in cold environments, and especially if you're exercising, like that's really the only time I was in super cold spots. I was never cold these. So they're kind of everything. The one problem is that they don't have zippers. So I was looking, maybe I can get a tailor to put some in, but I do like these pants a lot, and that's the 1 pair I'm taking. And the main reason I'm only taking 1 pair of pants is that they are huge. So shorts take up a lot less room in your bag, so you get a little bit more leeway with how many you're taking, but pants are huge, so it's good to limit them as much as possible. And lastly is shirts here. So in total, I'm taking 4 shirts, which is, I feel like fine. I have 2 of the Icebreaker merino wool shirts that are new, and they're gonna be a lot better than my old shirts because I brought a cotton shirt and it was horrible. And then 1 athletic shirt, and then 1 long sleeve, a little bit warmer shirt. So 3 main shirts and then sort of a long sleeve for hiking cold weather stuff. If you're kind of wondering why I have so much cold weather stuff, I'm starting in India because it was the cheapest way to get over to Southeast Asia. I only paid $374 for my flights, but I'm going to Nepal right after that because it's awesome and I want to go to Nepal. But the flights over, then I'm flying from there to Southeast Asia. So if you're wondering why I have a lot of winter stuff, it's mostly because of Nepal. And I mean, I don't have that much of it, but it is worth noting that you probably won't need this winter stuff if you're only going to those places, but sometimes it can get weirdly cold, even like if you're on the beach or, you know, you'd be surprised. So I think it's always good to have at least one layer of warm clothes with you. All right, now this is the last stuff that's going in these packing cubes. I got all my other clothes in, and these are sort of the more specialty items now. I have a buff. It's used for skiing usually, but it has come in handy so many times. It is kind of a cold weather item, but I'd still bring it if it was only going for warm stuff. It is super nice, especially if you're going like anywhere sort of deserty or weird environments. I feel like it's just nice to have, and you can use it as a headband and so many other things. But if you're in the jungle, like covering your face, I use this in the Amazon, even though it's super hot, to protect me from mosquitoes. But if you're going to Southeast Asia, you're definitely gonna run into that. So one of these would be super nice. Now, as far as other clothes items go, I have a towel. I only have 1 towel that is, I don't know if it's called microfiber or I forget what it's even called, but they're a specific kind of towel. They completely dry super fast, and you definitely need this if you're traveling. They're super tiny. That's what I do for my towel. I think next is going to be laundry stuff. So there are a lot of questions about laundry. I am bringing my own laundry stuff to do it if I need to. On my previous trip, I just went to the laundry places, but it is going to be, sometimes there might not be that, and I need to wash my clothes. So I have these sort of solid laundry sheets, and then a sink stopper for If I need to do them in the sink, that's more ideal. But if I have no sink to do them in, I have this dry bag. So the process would go, put the clothes in here. I have not done this yet, so I will see how that works. And I didn't really use this stuff much for South America, but I think it's worth it to bring it because I would not want to be in a situation where all my clothes are nasty and I cannot wash them. That would suck. So in total for laundry stuff, I have a clothesline, a dry bag, laundry detergent sheets here, and then a sink stopper. And that is, I believe, everything for laundry. And this brings me to my most important item in my bag. Believe it or not, a laundry bag for dirty clothes. This has absolutely changed. Like, I almost didn't bring this. I thought this is a waste of space completely. It is amazing to separate the dirty, nasty clothes in your bag, because that will happen, from the clean stuff. And having a bag that you can drop off, especially if you're going to laundromats that are like super cheap, you'll probably want to do it. You can just drop the bag with them, and it is so nice. Without this, I would actually be lost. Now that I have all my clothes in these packing cubes, I think it's time to put them in. And I have a certain way of doing it in my 40 liter that I can show you here. Okay, so to put everything into my 40 liter, basically what I do is stack everything from the bottom to the top. It opens really wide, but I have basically these two are pretty solid. So they sit right at the bottom of my bag. So you can see this here. These two sit wide. And then I have my toiletries bag, which we'll get to in a second here. And so it sort of creates this like really solid base for all the looser stuff to go on top here. And so there's a few more loose items that I'm gonna put in my bag as well that I'll explain right now too. I did not have this for my previous trip. It is a rain cover for this bag. And my camera bag's pretty waterproof. So if it's downpouring, honestly, I'm not too worried about it. But this bag, the water just goes like, it doesn't go right through, but it's not great when you're in a rainstorm and you need it. So this is gonna be helpful. Now, I am taking gloves as well. This is kind of controversial. I probably shouldn't be taking these. I'm gonna use them very few amount of times, but I just feel like they're nice to have, and my hands get cold really easily. So this is more of a luxury item for me, especially since I'm gonna be in Nepal, and most people traveling Southeast Asia will not need these. This is another super important thing in my bag that is my raincoat. And for content creation stuff, having a brightly colored raincoat is actually a game changer. It is basically, it will level up your photos so much if you're in any environment. I love the color orange, which is why I have this, and it sort of goes with all my account stuff. So I think a rain jacket is absolutely necessary as an item, but for content creation and people taking photos and videos in general, you're gonna stand out a lot. That is also a downside though. If you are in somewhere that's not as safe, having a brightly colored rain jacket on, you literally like give yourself so much attention, which is great for content, but it's really bad for safety stuff if you're in dangerous spots. So that is something to keep in mind if you have a brightly colored thing. Most of my clothes are neutral colored for that reason, and I do have a couple things that are bright for videos and stuff like that, but mostly it's like black or gray. And then for my full jacket, I'm not gonna take it out right now, but it's an REI sort of puffer jacket that folds really small. It's super warm, and it is absolutely worth having. This is gonna be my sweatshirt. This is like basically everything that's more than a long sleeve shirt. So, and I really like it. It's like just plain black. It's pretty warm. So it might be too warm for some spots, but then I'll just use my long sleeve and be fine. But a jacket like this is super helpful because it packs so small, and especially in winter conditions, you can layer your clothes on top of one another. And that's what my plan is for Nepal. I'll have one pair of like really warm stuff and sort of layer everything on top. And generally I can get very warm. In the mountains in Peru, I was in some very cold spots and completely fine as long as I was wearing multiple of my clothes on at the same time. Which is just how it goes. I have 2 pairs of earplugs that, this is kind of self-explanatory, but you know, they're good to have. I didn't have them for my last trip, and I think they'll be nice for loud hostels. Next up is my water bottle. I kind of just have a random one. There's nothing special about it. It's pretty light. It's not a hydro flask or anything like that. Honestly, I think those are kind of a waste of space and weight, but some people love them, so I'm not gonna hate on that. I wasn't sure if I was gonna take this, and mostly because I get like plastic bottles from stores, unfortunately, and I reuse those a lot. So when you have those, you can make it last quite a while. So I kind of ended up not using this a lot on my last trip anyways, because I was using other bottles that were a little bit cleaner than this was. So but I'm still bringing it. I think it's still worth it to have it, especially for hiking stuff and things where you need to know that your water is going to actually stay in the bottle. And then one more thing I forgot is my running belt. And this is going to be super nice for if I run, if I hike, my phone will go in here and it'll be great. I use these a lot anyways for running. But the other nice thing is when I'm wearing my pants that have no zippered pockets and I'm going out to a bar or something like that, I think it will be super helpful. I'm going to have this on, that my stuff is zipped up and safe, probably around my waist. Hopefully I don't look like too much of a dork with it on, but I think it's good for multi-purpose stuff and mainly for hiking, so I can have my phone close to my body if I'm running at all too. And lastly, for clothes, it's going to be my shoes. So shoes are so important, and you kind of can only bring one. Some people travel with 2 pairs of shoes, but it's a huge resource for space. So I have 1 pair of shoes for basically everything, and then 1 pair of sandals for showering, going to the beach, stuff like that, but really 1 main pair of shoes. And the way I went about picking these shoes is something that can do everything. So I think trail running shoes are perfect. I'll enjoy running anyways, but they're extremely padded, can do kind of everything. And if you find one that looks good, it will go for any occasion, even if you're going out to a club. So the ones that I went with are the Saucony Ride Men's TR2. So I haven't tested them out fully yet, but I had the Hoka Speed Goats on my last trip. They were great, except the colors weren't the best for the new versions. So I love the all black of these, can wear them out and about, and hopefully they'll do everything I need. And I honestly think it's crucial to bring 1 pair of shoes. I feel like having 2 pairs would be super nice and luxurious, except they are so huge compared to so much stuff that you can make the sacrifice, but you're going to lose a lot of other stuff along the way. And honestly, living in 1 pair of shoes is not that bad. And then for my sandals here, I have random ones that I got for 10 bucks, and I think that's the way to go. They're skinny, they're light, they are like comfortable on my feet, which is the main thing, and they'll dry quickly. I don't even know where I got them, so I'm not going to link them. But that's what I'm doing for shoes. And then importantly, for the sandals, I have a plastic bag, and these get nasty from hostel showers, and it is so nice to be able to put them in a plastic bag inside of your bag. I kind of hate stuff hanging on the outside of my bag, which I see a lot of people do sometimes, but it's nice to have these inside of your bag and clean in a plastic bag. And that brings me to the end of my clothes section. So now let's get back into packing, into the next section, which is documents. And this sounds boring, but it is so important to bring the right stuff with you, including passport, all sorts of stuff, and I'll show you what I'm bringing. Now, I also almost forgot a few more miscellaneous items that are gonna be really nice for hostel stuff that you should not forget, being travel locks. So I got these on Amazon, they're great. They are super tiny, so they fit into little hostel things, hostel lockers, which sometimes are smaller than traditional padlocks. But these are crucial. If you're going to hostels, you should definitely have locks, and they're super tiny, so it's worth it. The next miscellaneous thing is Airtags. I have 1 card that's like a Eufy card for my wallet, but then I have 2 Airtags, 1 for each bag, and it's really nice. You know, people say they're not that great for security. You know, I'll know where my bag is, at least if it's getting stolen, but if it's, you know, there might be a chance you can recover it. So I am definitely always in the boat to bring them. They are super tiny and light and definitely worth having. And then I have 2 spare AirTag batteries because I'm going to be gone over 6 months, so probably they'll die. But these are also super light and nice to have. Okay, and I think that is actually everything for miscellaneous stuff. Okay, so as far as actual documents go, I'm bringing a physical folder, which is really nice if you have photocopies of stuff, which I'll go through a little bit here. Inside of my folder, I have my insurance card. So I'll probably have to blur this out, but I have Safety Wing for my travel insurance, and that will probably be a whole nother video, but I am not like super sold on them yet, but it works, but it's super expensive. So I have that insurance card. I have my India e-visa right here printed out. I have no idea what situations I'm going to be in, so it's really good to be able to identify yourself no matter what, even if you're if you don't need that many visas for, so like as an American, I don't need a ton of visas for, actual visas for Southeast Asia, but there's going to be some e-visas and I don't know what I'm going to encounter, so it's always a good idea to have, I have a copy of my birth certificate, which I'll also have to blur, and then photocopies of my US passport. Recently, I got my international driving permit. So in the US, this is super easy to get, would highly recommend it. Do some documentation if you are driving abroad, but it is $20 and so worth it. So worth it. And in it, I have my motorcycle endorsement, which I got for Southeast Asia. That is a super good idea to get because your insurance will then cover you if you crash on a motorcycle, which many people do. So I got that this summer. It took a little bit, but I hope will be worth it because it was definitely a little time consuming. So that's the last thing that's going into this folder. And this folder lives in the back pouch of my main 40-liter bag. And I'll show you guys where it goes here. Right now, it will go in the back sort of pocket, and it's sort of a laptop pocket as well, which is really nice for if you need to store your computer in there. Both my backpacks have laptop pockets, and that was hugely important for me since I need to sort of transfer that around. If I'm hiking, it stays in one bag. If I'm going to work at a coffee shop, then I need to take it with me. So that's where this folder is going. And next here, we have our actual passport holder. So my main passport holder is here. I have my passport one side, yellow fever vaccination, get all your vaccinations before you go travel. That's massively important. And then my US insurance, which I don't really need, but it is what it is. So that's one passport holder. And then a fun announcement, I'm gonna have a whole video about this soon, but I actually recently became a dual citizen of Mexico. So my dad was born in Mexico, so therefore I'm a citizen by birth, which is really cool. So I got my Mexican citizenship. It lets me go to 5 new countries, most of which are pretty crazy, so Russia, Venezuela, but that might happen in future videos. I'm gonna explain a little bit more about how I got this and what it means in another video, but that's my second passport holder here. And then this also has some of my backup cards, so if I lose my wallet, I have 2 cards here that are my backup ones, so if everything goes to shit, I lose my wallet, then I will have something to be able to survive and not be totally screwed. So that is going to wrap up the document section. That's everything I'm bringing in my folder. I don't really need to apply for any visas for this trip that are super intense. I kind of wanted to do China, but I think that will end up being a later thing. But if you're from another country and you need to get visas, that's something you should definitely do before because it requires printing a lot of shit, applications, and craziness that I have not yet truly experienced myself, but I've heard many stories. So have all your documents before you go if you're trying to apply for visas in other countries and you don't already have them. But next, we are going to go to Toiletries, which took me forever to figure out the right way. And there's so many little nuances for toiletry stuff that it is important to dial in. All right, so I don't know if I'm gonna go over every single item in my Toiletries bag here, but because there's so many little ones that it's just insane. But I'm gonna go over the main stuff. So I am bringing an electric toothbrush, which is kind of dumb space-wise, but I really need it for my teeth. And so that's kind of a personal decision if you are gonna take electric one or not, but the non-electric ones save up a lot of space, which is nice. What I will say about Toiletries, this is one of my favorite items. Other than my laundry bag, this thing is so good. It is a Peak Design toiletry bag, and it was kind of expensive. It was like 40 bucks, but it is so worth it. It keeps everything super nice and will not leak all over the rest of your bag if the inside of this gets messed up. But inside of this, I have kind of a lot of things. If you can see them here, I have many items. So I'll go through them one by one really quick. I have shampoo and bar soap. Those are the first 2 things, sort of. Honestly, I'm going to kind of run through these a little bit quicker. I have a block sunscreen that's not cream, so that'll be nice if you are worried about liquids and stuff running out. I think this will last a little bit longer. Next is Body Glide for athletic stuff. I think I'm going to be doing some long hikes, so this will be nice to have for those. Next, I have deodorant, little mini deodorant. Most travelers don't really travel with deodorant anyways, so at least I'll start with some and we'll see if I need it. Next is lotion. I have a little mini lotion bottle, but in the mountains sometimes it gets very dry, so having this is nice. Electric toothbrush is next here. I have Oral-B. I don't know what kind, but toothbrush. And then retainers that I had to recently get, which is unfortunate, but retainers, a little flossing stick, my toothpaste in this little container is from Target because my actual toothpaste was 4 ounces, so a little bit too big. And we'll see how this works. I haven't used it yet, but hopefully it doesn't explode. But honestly, it is a good idea to have some of the stuff in your toiletry bag inside another Ziploc bag. That's probably a smart choice. Next is I have a Manscaped. This is how I trim my beard and everything. So it's really nice and charges USB-C. So I can use all my other chargers for it and it works great. And then lastly, I have an actual razor as well. Oh my God, the head fell off. That's sort of just in case I actually need to shave, but I don't plan on it anytime soon. So I forgot my nail clipper. So that's everything in my toiletry bag. I have some pills as well. Some for, the red ones are for traveler's diarrhea. The white ones are Advil here. It's really nice to have Advil. And then these were like doctor prescribed. So they said, just bring it, have it. And I'm going to India first, so I might need them. Probably will. Well, on that note, I have Tums in case I get sick from the street food. That might be nice to have. And then lastly, I have my malaria medication that I've had a terrible time with this. I had to take the same medication for South America. And even though it was once a week, it was kind of annoying. And I did, so clearly these are all the pills left over because in Minnesota, it's really hard to get them, super niche, whatever. But I have them. We'll see if I end up taking them or not. I probably should because malaria is pretty bad. But that's the extent of my pills that I'm taking that go with my toiletry stuff. And then one last thing I forgot to, my toothbrush charger. And please comment if you know one of these chargers with a USB-C on the end. I literally cannot find it. And you know, this would not be a pain in the butt if I had that, but it has a big cord and it is super heavy. So it's one of the main things why my electric toothbrush is a pain in the butt to have. So if you know of these with a USB-C, please send it my way because, or just make it because that would be amazing. And that's actually it for toiletry stuff. Okay, so I repacked all my toiletries into the bag and then I'm gonna show you guys where it fits in my main bag here. So I might have to adjust this. So if you guys can see this, here's my current setup right now. The jackets need to move around a little bit, but it fits on the bottom with my two clothes bags. And so they're 3 wide on the bottom, which gives a lot of good structural integrity to the bag when you're sort of throwing it around. And these are pretty like well packed in, so things don't rattle around very often. And I think it's a good way to do it if you have this bag specifically. But let's get to the most important part of the video, my camera stuff, which is the majority of what I'm taking and kind of a disaster if you have no idea how to pack camera stuff at all. So before I get into the exact specifics of my camera stuff, I want to talk a little bit about whether or not there are some decisions whether, depending how far you are in your filmmaking stuff and what you want to take on your trip, where a GoPro might be enough. You might want a full camera, you might want a drone as well. I'm taking all those things, which is kind of a lot, but it's really, really good to figure out exactly what you need for your filmmaking stuff. But honestly, I think for most people, having phone and GoPro and like maybe some little mics would be like completely enough for content creation. If you want to be doing photography and stuff like that, I think a camera could be nice, but I do a ton of iPhone photography and it's kind of my dream to just travel with my phone as my entire camera gear. So I think that would be very much sufficient for most people if you have a newer phone. But for the people who want more in-depth camera stuff, that's like more similar to my setup here. And I am taking a lot. I'm taking my laptop. If you have a more minimal setup, you don't need a laptop. That is like massively helpful. But most people who are making content full time, I think unfortunately need one, especially if you're editing a lot. But if you cannot take a laptop, it is amazing. So that's my little spiel before we get into the exact specifics of what camera stuff I'm bringing. But the less is better, and you can absolutely be doing content full time with only a phone, and like that's all you need. Okay, so before we get into the actual camera stuff too, I'm going to talk a little bit about this bag. And I have gone through with this bag. I have a camera cube in the bottom, and that is where I'll show you how I set everything up. But I have, this is where my drone sits on top, and then I guess we'll get into it as we go through the packing stuff. So we're going to start with drone. Droning is my main thing that I love, which is why I'm traveling with Mavic 3 Pro, which is fucking huge and absolutely heavy and such a pain in the butt. If the shots were not as good as they were, I would absolutely ditch this for a Mini 4 Pro. I love it though, and so I'm taking it on this trip. However, if for like so many people, most people, even I was considering downgrading from this to a Mini 4 Pro, DJI Mini 4 Pro is the one to get for travel stuff if you're gonna have a drone. Like 100 times over, get that drone. Or the future versions of the DJI Minis series. Like I had a Mini 2, I have many friends with the Mini 4, they love it. It's definitely the way to go for drone stuff, unless you're like, your main thing is drone stuff like mine. So this goes in the top compartment of my bag and sort of sits over everything. And I'll show you guys at the end when it's all packed up a little bit. Next is all of the drone accessories. So I have the newer DJI remote with the screen built in, which is kind of nice, kind of not, it's a little bit bigger. Then 3 batteries in total. One is in the drone right now. And these things last like 45 minutes on this drone, so it's amazing, but I do bring 3, so that is nice. Next is 4 spare propellers. So if I crash and mess up my propellers, I won't be totally donezo, but honestly, the plan is don't crash and not have to use these, hopefully. I have a few little extra remote sticks, and then a little mini drone light, which I honestly love this little thing because I can use it as a hiking light if I need to. It weighs literally nothing and is so bright. It goes white and green as well. If I can, oh my God. So it's really, really nice. It's so small, but I lost it on my last trip, but I bought another one because they're like 15 bucks and it is so worth it. I have my drone ND filters as well. If you have a Mini, you maybe want these, maybe don't, but having ND filters is really good for like really everything. You should probably have them if you have a drone. But these go at the bottom of my bag down here. And since they sit flat, it's really nice because I can set my bag down and then it will stand up straight without me touching it. And largely because of these in the bottom. Next, I'm taking a GoPro Hero 12 that I got on sale before the 13 was released. It was really nice. But this is mainly for me. I have my big camera. A lot of people would say, why would you need a GoPro? For underwater stuff, hopefully, if I'm doing some of that. I've never done that in my life, but these are great for it. And then also for like unsafe markets, I don't want to have my entire camera out. I don't really want to have a phone out, but this thing fits in my hand really well. It's pretty incognito and has like good enough quality where I can vlog during, if I'm in some street markets and stuff and don't want to have a big rig out, which most of the time you don't. If you're in foreign countries, like that's just a dumb idea and people can snatch it really easily. You make yourself literally a sitting target. So having one of these is really nice for that, as well as like a bajillions of other things, but that's what I have. And then I have a bunch of accessories for the GoPro. So I have a mount here, a different kind of mount here for a helmet or motorbike. Hopefully if I'll be doing that, that will sit on there. And then the pin, GoPro pin as well. And then I think that brings me, and then 1 spare battery. So I have 2 batteries total for this, but they're both Enduro batteries, the enhanced ones. So it should be fine. As far as other little random gadgets that I have these glasses that I got on my last trip. They're super cool. They're from Meta, and they're not super expensive. They're like 300 bucks, so they are kind of a lot, but as far as cameras go, they're not that much. But they have a camera in the frame. So if I'm walking around and need glasses, these are my main glasses that I'm bringing. I have no other ones that I'm bringing, but I can record stuff. So a little light comes on, and then, of course, they're not going to go right now. But they are super cool for POV shots, everything like that. And they are quite in a small case, so and they charge USB-C like everything else in my bag except for my fucking toothbrush. Next, I have a bunch of other little items here that are kind of random, like this little top part to my camera. We'll get to that in a minute. A little bit of microfiber cloths, which are great. Lens cleaner. This is kind of big. I wish I had a smaller one, but I don't. And that's the main stuff I have for the other little random items. Okay, moving right along. Next is headphones. I travel with 1 pair of headphones. They're AirPod Pro 2s. They're great. They're so tiny, completely noise canceling for editing. If you're traveling with over-ear ones, I highly recommend swapping to these. I, in the past, have hated AirPods, never fit in my ears right. And if you haven't tried these yet, you probably should because they're super tiny, noise canceling, great if you're on buses and people are loud, which happens a lot. Okay, next we're gonna talk camera, and I'm currently recording on my camera, which is why it's not in here. I have a Sony a7 IV, and I've loved it so far. Photos are great, video is great. I love doing both, and that's what I use. I have 2 lenses that I'm bringing for my Sony a7 IV. The first is this 14mm G Master that I got recently, which is absolutely fantastic, and I've gotten tested a little bit, but for wide landscapes, I'm really excited, and for vlogging stuff, I'm really excited for wide. So it's a little bit multi-purpose. But that's one of my lenses. So the second lens that I'm recording on right now is the other G Master that I have, 24-72, and it is f2.8. It's really nice. I just got it in the mail today before I'm arriving, so I kind of invested heavy in my lenses before this trip, but I hope it will be worth it because I haven't tested it fully yet. So it is definitely, in terms of weight and stuff, that's one of the main things I'd talk about for lenses, but this is entirely another video for camera stuff, getting into the details of it, but that's what stuff that I'm taking. Then as far as camera accessories go, I have 3 batteries total, including these 2 and the one that's in the camera right now. I have 2 SD cards that are both 128 gigs, and then I have a backup 32 gig one. And these can get really pricey if you're using the A7 IV because you need V90 cards, which are really, it's kind of niche and annoying, but they're super expensive, which is not great. And then I have 2 filters for my camera. One of them is on right now. That is the UV filter for this. I lied, I have 3. I have the UV filter that's on the camera right now. I have a polarizer, which I've not used before, but I will be using for this trip. Very excited about that. They're not super expensive. And then I have an ND filter as well. And if you don't know what those are, it's worth going to look them up because that's like what I'd recommend, honestly. Next, let's get into storage. So I travel with SSDs, and I currently have a NAS set up at home that is worth looking into. If you don't know what that is, it's much safer than SSDs. And it's sort of that or a cloud storage in my mind are the actual safe options for footage and photos. Worth looking into. But for actual SSDs, I have 2 SanDisk 2 terabyte SSDs, and then I have one 4 terabyte SSD that's going to be my backup this whole trip. I hope not to go over 4 terabytes because then we're going to start having problems. But this is going to be my backup that sits in my bag. I'll back up my footage from these every once in a while. So if one of these fails, I'll at least have most of my stuff here. It's not the most safe method, but for long trips like this, I haven't found another way that's better yet, that's cost effective at least. So along with my SSDs, I have my computer, which is a 2021 MacBook Pro, and it's super heavy, and I absolutely hate that it's super heavy and want a lighter one, but expenses are a thing. So I will be getting a lighter one in the future, but I have to take this for the editing side of things. It's an M1 Max, and then I kind of have to take it, so it is what it is. My screen cracked on my last trip because I wasn't careful with it, so I now have a case for it, which is smart, and a screen protector, but that's what I do for computer editing setup, and then I edit in Premiere if you were curious. And then I have a travel mouse, and this thing is amazing because it's super skinny. It's from Microsoft, and it bends, so when I'm actually using it, it's like a great mouse, and then it will bend flat in my bag and go with the SSDs really nicely. For portable charger, I used to have a larger one, and I recently scaled down because I didn't really need as much as I'd thought. For I have an Anker, this is 10,000 mAh, and I just got a new phone as well, so the battery in that is still fine. So if you have an older phone, you might want to invest in one of these or just get a new phone, because sometimes long travel days can really get draining for your battery. Speaking of phones, I recently got the new iPhone 16 before this trip, and honestly, I'd tell you guys it's worth investing in the right stuff before you go on a trip like this, because every single photo I take on my phone will be on your phone, you know? So it's worth having nice stuff sometimes, especially if it's your phone, and I use my phone a lot, unfortunately. So that's what I'd say about phone stuff, but it's probably worth upgrading if you've been thinking about it and you're going on a trip like this. It is super worth having a nice phone that you're very careful with, because if someone steals this, I'd be very sad. The last little stuff here is my other camera accessories, and then I'm going to show you what everything looks like packed in my bag, and go over tripod as well. So I have a little Allen wrench, and the reason I have this is because I have a Peak Design clip on my bag, which is really nice for hiking. So it looks like this, if you can see it. It basically sits on your shoulder, and then your camera can go right in there, and it's really nice, and you need an Allen wrench for it. And then speaking of that, I have a spare bolt for that. I have a little mini SD card reader here for my drone SD card, and then a USB-C to card reader in case my computer slot fails, which it has a couple times, unfortunately. But this is also really nice if you're downloading stuff directly to your phone, because you can download pictures to your phone super fast, and it's really nice to have. Here's a little case for all my little pieces and parts that are gonna need to go in the bag. I have a little lens bag as well for my camera lenses. This little thing is huge for camera stuff. It is a lens cleaner, so if you have like dust on your lens, which happens to a lot of beginners. They have dust on their lens and then don't spray it off, and there's little dots all over your screen, and it just absolutely ruins your shot. So super bad. So this little thing is super tiny, it packs really small, and it's really nice. And one thing I haven't talked about yet is my tripod. So this is the tripod that I'm bringing. It is not too big, and it is carbon fiber, so it's a little bit lighter. It's like $100, I believe, from Cerui. I haven't used it too much yet, but it's the one I'm bringing, and it is a big decision whether or not to bring a tripod. I would definitely say don't bring one if you don't need it. I'm going to be likely solo for some of this trip. I'm with my friend Charlotte for a lot of the other parts of it, but there is a lot of times where having a tripod would be nice, not to have to set it up on a rock or something like that. And for stars, it will be massively important, especially since I have my new wide lens. I'm very excited about my star shots. And then as far as audio stuff goes, this is my shotgun mic for now. It's pretty tiny. It's a Deity Mini D4 Mini. It's like really tiny. But and then I also have the current mics that are on me right now, the DJI Mic 2s. So I'll be using a combination of both those. But here's the case for the Mic 2s. There's 2 receivers. I think these are really nice. And if you're going for a super light setup with only your phone, something like this would be a really nice accessory if you were doing voiceover videos. This is what I use for mine, and it is like game-changing compared to just iPhone quality audio. So to go with the mics, I have little fuzzy dead cats here, and then same with this one. And I think that's everything for my audio stuff. And now we are to the dreaded chargers situation. Now, I have tried extremely hard to get every single charger that I own to be USB-C compatible, which means that I have 2 main chargers, and so 2 dual chargers. So I have 4 slots that are USB-C to charge with 1 outlet, which is really nice because I think I have like 12 items in total that need USB-C charging. And only about 6 or 7 really are often, but it is worth noting that if you have some Lightning, some USB-C, some like Apple Watch chargers, random stuff, it really adds up in terms of chargers and weight. So trying to consolidate that as much as possible is really worth it. So here are my 2 main chargers. I have 1 Anker brick and then 2 sort of iPhone chargers. These are pretty long, but for hostels it's kind of nice. They're both USB-C. And then my drone charger is also a dual charger, and they're also both USB-C. So this is like a speed charger for my drone in case I need it. It's pretty bulky, so in the future I might downgrade to another one of these Anker bricks, but for now I'm taking it. And then the other 2 chargers that I have, I only have 4 chargers total, is my freaking toothbrush charger, which I'm trying to get rid of. Here she is. If anyone finds a USB-C one of these, please send it to me because I would be forever grateful. And then lastly, a speed computer charger. So this is for my Mac, but when I'm editing, it's really nice to be able to charge my computer fast, and I kind of need this if I'm editing for long stuff, which for YouTube videos, I will be doing. But those are my 4 chargers, and then I have 2 spare cords that I'm bringing, an extra USB-C to C, and then a USB-A to C. Even though none of my other stuff is USB-A, it's nice because airplanes and other places have USB-A chargers a lot, and it's like, even though they're outdated, it's still worth having to have one of these. I forgot a couple little items as well. This is my drone brick for charging the batteries. Not that important. And then finally, for the last stuff, are my international chargers. So I said that was the only charger that I was bringing. I lied a little bit. This is one of the bricks that I'm bringing. All the chargers are weird throughout. I'm going to India first and then over to traditional Southeast Asia. So India's blocks are weird. I had to get a special one for that. But this charger does mostly everything else. And then this one is directly from my drone. So I can still fast charge if I'm in, I forget what this one's called, but it's worth looking into before your trip to get the right ones. These ones are kind of fine, so I'd recommend just getting any of them that work. That's really it. I have my wallet as well. So credit cards is an entire another video, but I have quite a few, and travel cards are so worth it if you're spending a lot of money traveling, or if you're budget traveling, they're still super worth it because you can get free stuff and free flights. Okay, that's everything in my camera gear, and now I'm going to show you how I pack it in my camera bag and where everything goes. But to do that, it requires swapping to my phone, and so I'll explain things on that. Okay, I lied. I'm just going to do my camera last so I can explain everything else first. So I have my camera bag set up a very specific way. in which my computer is protected, sort of, even though it broke last time, which I guess isn't a great thing to say before I show you guys how I do it. It goes in the back of these pockets, and the reason it broke last time is I fell on this bag like directly, which if you fall on any bag full of camera equipment and computers, something's gonna break. It was my computer. So don't fall on your bag full of everything when it's full. But it goes in the back pocket, and then generally all of my SSDs that I actually work off of go in here, right next to it. My other backup SSD goes in the other bag in case they get separated, and that way I'll have at least one. Spare camera batteries go up here, followed by my computer mouse in the same spot as SSDs. So I have whichever lens I'm not using on my camera in this thing, and then most of my camera stuff sits in the main compartment. My drone's on the top, so if you can see that here. I've done a good job of staying focused and getting this video done, but my brain is going crazy right now because I'm leaving for 6 months, and I am so actually nervous for it. Some of the stuff I have planned for my travels is going to be so much fun, but kind of crazy. So that's why it's important to have everything packed the right way if you're going to be in crazy situations, which I will be. Like I said before, my ND filters go on the bottom of the bag here, and that way, this is not an ND filter, to go protect, so the bag will stand up completely straight when it is sitting flat. I almost forgot to mention this lens cap before, but this is for my spare lens. I guess if I'm mentioning literally every single item in my bag, this was not mentioned. So all the little random goodies that are from my camera go in this Peak Design bag, so they're all kept together, and then they go on this top part as well. It's important, if you don't know this, that if you have portable chargers, they're considered kind of large batteries, so have them in your carry-on bag. If you're checking a bag, I only do carry-on, and kind of for a lot of reasons, but mainly for cost. So if you're checking your bag, make sure all your big batteries and portable chargers are out in this, in your camera bag or the one that's with you. Okay, so here is my camera bag on the ground here. As you can see, computer, other electronics on this side, and then the main compartment here, the drone sits on top with maybe the shotgun mic and a couple other things on top here. Passport and wallet go in the main pocket, and then I have lens B or whichever one I'm not using here. Main camera goes here with the lens, and then drone remote, drone batteries, filters, and microphone here. This thing probably needs to move as well. And then my blower as well. And occasionally I will put a shirt in order to sort of pad between the computer and some other stuff, but honestly the padding here is pretty thick, so it's not too bad. And then I also have my AirPods and GoPro in this side with an extra little spare charger for the airplane. So this is what my 40-liter looks like, completely packed. I have my tripod on the very side here, and then it sort of squishes these all together even more than before. And then the cords are a little messy right now. Honestly, I probably should get a bag for those, but my jacket's here, and the jackets kind of pack everything in really nicely. I have my slides that will go here, and then some other random assortments of this stuff. So everything should work out nicely, and it's not, right now it looks kind of ugly. Let me zip it up. So this is what it looks like zipped up here, and then I have not put the tightening straps on yet, but there are tightening straps for this bag that will really condense everything in. Tightening this down is really nice because it goes from, I have some compression stuff in my packing cubes, but when you really can zip this tight, things get really, really tight. So, and then this is what it looks like now, completely tight. Oh, my folder bag is open. Oops. This is what it's looking like. As far as backpacking bags go, this is like freaking good. And especially with all the camera stuff I'm bringing, I'm very happy with how this turned out. This is not too bad, honestly. I have both bags packed and ready to go. And like I had said before, they both stand up completely straight on their own, which is really, really nice for when you are in, you know, any situation, to be honest, but it's really nice to have. And I'll show you guys what they both look like on here. For that, I have to unzip the duffel bag mode on this thing, but that's usually how I fly. And so if there's long walks in the airport or anything like that, I'll unzip this and then wear both bags, front and back, which is kind of just what you have to do when you have two big bags like this for if you're bringing this much camera stuff, but generally people aren't. And so if you were to have a setup that has completely just one 40-liter bag with no camera stuff or a very small camera bag, that's probably what most people would need. And that way you would not have to have 2 backpacks on at once. But this is what they both look like on. So the Osprey is nice because it has great hip straps. So if you're hiking and you need a nice hiking bag, that's there. And then my camera bag is generally heavier. My camera's not in there right now, so it's a little bit lighter, but that goes on the front. This looks a little bit strange if I'm kneeling down, but this is generally what it looks like where I'm walking through the airports, doing my thing with both bags on. And honestly, it feels quite light right now, so I'm feeling pretty good about my pack setup for this trip compared to previous ones. All right, so that is that for the packing, and I hope you enjoyed my video about everything I bring. I know it wasn't necessarily the most professional YouTube video, but I hope you got some value from seeing exactly what I bring to travel the world and make videos. So I am leaving on this trip right now, the night of, going to my flight tomorrow morning at 5, but I'm going to India first, then Nepal, then all over Southeast Asia, so it should be really fun. And if you see this video close to when it was posted, I'll probably be in Asia. So if you're over there, let me know and we can meet up.